As a little overview of myself, you can see me and my parents on the right. My name is Matthew Barron, and uh, I'm hoping to be in contact with you pretty frequently this year about how your scholars are doing. My office hours, at least while we're virtual or in our hybrid model, will be from 10 to 12 on Wednesdays by appointment, and from 3 to 4 as normal drop-in hours. If you have any questions about your scholars missing work, we're using Google Classroom as our new platform this year. So please shoot me an email if you're not involved or signed up with that just yet. And that's going to be the first place you want to look to help your scholars get caught up on any work that they might be missing or to keep track of how their studies are going. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from the great state of Virginia. I grew up about 30 miles away from Washington, D.C. And I went to the University of Virginia for my undergraduate education, where I studied electrical engineering. Need I remind you that the University of Virginia, because of the canceled tournament, is still the reigning NCAA basketball champions. And it was when I was in undergraduate, I started to get involved with a lot of robotics and automation work. I did some research work with body sensors, and then I switched to doing some work with humanoid robots. And while I had an interest in doing technical research, I started to think a lot about engineering and technical education. My university inspired me because of the quality of my own professors to try to bring some of the things that were going on in the university setting into the K through 12 world. So I originally became a teacher by going through a master's in education program at the University of Notre Dame. And for my first 3 years, I taught middle school science and engineering on the south side of Indianapolis in Beech Grove. You can see my old middle school homeroom here on the right, before I moved to Heron last fall. I teach 3 courses here at Heron. The first is Introduction to Computer Science, which is a course that I'm pretty excited about. You'll notice a placard on the screen right there for IDO, which is an institute at IUPUI that is interested in proliferating technical and project-based education throughout the state. And we work really closely with them in our Introduction to Computer Science class because at the end of each semester, we invite in some professors from IUPUI and some local software developers to come off and see students' final projects. They learn how to code, but they immediately apply it to the creation of an app that helps them solve a community problem that they find interesting. So in the Introduction to Computer Science course, students are typically learning kind of these skills. How do we actually design the best app for a particular problem? How do we code, but particularly use these coding language to meet the requirements of the design we come up with? How do I take a multi-part problem and divide up responsibilities to work well with other people? And how do I present my ideas in the most convincing manner? So we really try to take a holistic view of computer science and teach students from soup to nuts to come up with, to use their technical skills to solve and present a solution to a real world problem. In addition to the Introduction to Computer Science course, as of this fall, I've started teaching a course in Introduction to Engineering Design, which is a course that is aimed to help students learn how to think like engineers and apply their thinking skills to a variety of different engineering problems. In this course, we spend some time learning about the theory of design before we move into engineering drafting and modeling. We spend some time teaching students reverse engineering skills. For your scholars in this class, they'll probably receive some old piece of technology they'll be taking apart with screwdrivers and documenting. We'll spend a little bit of time later on in the semester learning some basic circuit theory and electromechanical systems, and students will learn how to think about how one variable within a system can change another. And once they've learned all these technological skills, they'll complete a final project where they develop some sort of prototype or solution to solve a community problem. In the past, I've taught a robotics course, which might have been the course that your scholar signed up for, but we've switched it to a design course this semester because with the hybrid or virtual model, we weren't sure we'd actually be able to get robots in kids' hands. Last but not least, I also teach AP Computer Science A, which mimics a one-semester college-level Introduction to Computer Science course. It's going to culminate in the AP exam at the end of the year, and topics for the AP exam include developing algorithms, storing, manipulating, and using data, and also learning Java programming language in depth, which is really an industry standard language. A lot of apps and computer programs that you use are developed in Java by large teams of people, and we try to replicate that experience. I love the AP course because it really allows us the chance to solve and some solutions to real world problems. For example, students think a little bit about cryptography and calculations. They think about how to write chatbots and also how to build video games like Battleship. And I really love that it's a course where students are given problems that they don't know the solution to off the bat, and they're going to spend an extended period of time really sitting with them and tweaking them and thinking about them until they get it right, which is how we help prepare them for college. In the past, starting last year, I started sponsoring the robotics team with Miss Anna McGinn, who's one of the physics teachers. If your scholar is interested in the robotics team, we are still meeting virtually this year. We work with Vex robots, which are pretty popular in middle schools too, and we compete in competitions around the Indianapolis area. And at this point, we'll be meeting on Wednesdays and Fridays from 4:30 to 5:30 virtually in Miss McGinn's Zoom link. Again, I welcome you all reaching out with any questions that you have. I love to make connections with parents. I think it's a really great way to help support scholars and learn a little bit more about them. For this semester, I've got 2 times for office hours, which is a wonderful time if your scholar needs some help or needs to catch up on work, or even just wants to get to know their teachers a little bit better since we're not totally together at this point. That could be a really great use of your time. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you and your scholars have a great year and feel really in touch with the Heron community. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to support you any further.